G-Roll Electronic Productions, baby.
Welcome to DEMOCREPUBLIX, where we cover the real news that matter to we the people. All right, just getting set up here. This is, just for the Patreon, just for y'all Patreon. I'm just really starting to get into the Patreon stuff. Don't really have too many subscribers right now, because this is the first time I'm really starting to start put exclusive content on here. Talking funny because I got my grill in. With the Patreon, I want y'all to see how I how I normally be hanging out and stuff, how I normally am when I'm not in my professional roles. I'll have the grill on. I have the grill in sometimes. Sometimes I might be sipping on something. You know what I'm saying? I don't normally do that on the regular broadcast. Sometimes I might be vaping. You know what I'm saying? I don't normally do that on the normal vlogs and stuff that I do. So you'll get a little bit more laid back me. You know what I'm saying? We'll get into a little bit deeper issues. The issues behind the issues and stuff with the Patreon stuff. Because I want to thank y'all for subscribing to me. I know there's plenty of other people you could be subscribing to. And paying, and y'all decided to rock with me, so I want to give y'all more in-depth, me and stuff. I want to apologize because it's storming, so if the power go out, I apologize about that. If you hear the thunderstorm or whatever, but yeah, I'm gonna go over this article here, and I might even go over see if any more headlines going on. Like I said, this is more laid back me, the late night me, where might be a little bit inebriated, so y'all bear with me. All right, so let's see. All right. Even though it's more laid back, and it's I go into different, more conspiracy theory stuff. Still gonna have to replace some names because this is still YouTube and they still censor apparently. So I'm gonna be replacing certain words and stuff like that. All right, so here we go. 3 fully jabbed Democrats tested positive for COVID after packing private plane, fleeing Texas to block GOP from passing voting laws. How ironic, they all got the jab, but the jab's supposed to be the end all be all, but they still getting it just like people that didn't get the jab. So what's the point of the jab, Let's see. At least 3 fully vaccinated Texas Democrat state lawmakers tested positive for COVID-19 after packing in a private plane and fleeing to D.C. On Monday, at least 58 Democrat members of the state of representative fled Texas to Washington, D.C. to block Republicans from advancing new voting laws through a special session of legislation. And they're trying to make it like these laws are racist. This is the craziest thing. We're living in a freaking bizarro world, They're trying to make it like asking people for ID is fucking racist when it's not. It's crazy. It makes absolutely no sense. It makes absolutely no sense. Well, I mean, it does really. We all know that the media all spin stuff. They go one way, you know what I'm saying? And they can straight up lie, and no one, and the media is not gonna check them on it. You know what I'm saying? They're not gonna check them on their lies, and then they ignore, they ignore real news. But it goes on to say that. On Monday, at least 58 Democrat members of the State House of Representatives fled Texas to Washington, D.C. to block Republicans from advancing new voter laws through special session. Oh, yeah, I read that part. All right. Democrat lawyers were seen packed on private planes, maskless flying to Texas to D.C. These are the most hypocritical people on the planet. KXAN reported At the end of the same week, Texas Democratic lawmakers made a mass exodus from the state capitol to block the GOP-led elections overhaul bills. Three fully jabbed members of the sometimes it's hard to replace that. Members of Texas House Democrat caucus have tested positive for COVID-19, according to the caucus officials. The caucus didn't identify which Democrats had tested positive or say whether or not they're among those who were aboard the private planes that transported lawmakers to Washington. Texas House Democrat Caucus Chair Chris Tucker released a statement, said, quote, the House Democratic Caucus is following all CDC guidelines and protocols. Well, that's a lie right there. The first darn sentence is a lie. The House Democratic Caucus is following all CDC guidelines right here. So if you're following CDC guidelines, why were they flying on a plane maskless? Straight, the first sentence is a lie. This is a sober reminder that COVID is still with us, and though people with jabs offer, even though the jabs offer tremendous protection, we must take necessary precautions. But they took no precautions, though. You know, or do they know that putting a diaper on your face don't really work? Maybe that's what it is. We are in touch with public health experts in Texas to provide additional guidance. Our caucus will follow all recommendations from public health experts as we continue our work. You know, let's look at some of these comments here. These comments be great sometimes. They said, Diddley Squat said, I hope they are very close and long meeting with Nancy with a Z. That's pretty funny. Wouldn't that be perfect? Super Spreader Nancy. Wonderful if they met if with Willie Brown's Super Spreader Kamala. These Democrats quit their jobs, abandon their constituents. The people from their district should hold special elections to elect new representatives to replace them. I totally agree with that. Totally agree with that one. 1 second. Let me... Got all this stuff popping up over here. All right. Let's see what else we got. Let's check out some news, some more news. Because, you know, I read news pretty much throughout the entire day. As long as I'm not with a client or doing anything important like paperwork, I'm normally reading news. So this is pretty much what I do on the weekend here. You know, sipping, vaping, and reading news. My favorite things. Alright, let's check out some of these news. Y'all getting exclusive stuff here. Stunning, after apologizing to New York Times from claims of election fraud and hoarding donor cash, GOP chair Ronna McDaniel finally tweets out on election fraud after Arizona audit hearing. Again, even though we are on the unlisted, you know, for the special Patreon stuff, still can't really get into that. You know, the overlords will still censor you over that. So, just checking something really quick. Make sure everything. All right. Let's see. New UK study: people who have been jabbed make up 47% of new cases. Wow, that is surprising. And this is a new UK study. I'm gonna have to save this so I can go and research this study. Y'all know how I'm a geek. I geek over stats, so I gotta look at this study and see what the stats really say. But data from a recently released study out of the UK that uses data compiled from their Orwellian symptom tracking app shows that shows jabbed people accounted for almost half of the country's new COVID cases. The experimental jab has been getting worse results as time progresses. Just a few months ago, only 25% of the people who had received the jab caught the Wu flu afterwards. And that number has now risen to 47% according to the study. Not surprisingly, jab cases are rising quickest among young people who are the least likely to get jabbed due to their 99.5% in recovery rate. Health officials who are in charge of jabs tracking app and the uptick among the jab on the virus running out of non-jab people to infect. Similar to the reason behind the ridiculous curfew imposed during the lockdowns, the virus has a mind of its own and targets you based on political reasons or motives. The lackluster jab results combined with a depleting reservoir of people who are willing to take the hastily prepared shot sparked a third wave that is prompting more lockdowns and authoritarian measures being put in place by globalists across Europe. A recent example of those measures is the provider style jab passports that were recently mandated in France. People are required to have received the jab and have their paperwork just to go inside restaurants or public areas. Early on Saturday, protests across the country erupted and thousands filled the streets to oppose the requirements. I'm glad. See, they are not afraid to stand up. About time people are standing up. Their rights are being violated by the government. It's a mess. It's a mess. This whole thing, problem, reaction, solution. This is what the powers that be want. They want the power and the control, and once they get the power and control, they will never relinquish it. They want more and more and more and more, and that's exactly what's going on. They got it, and they refuse to let it go. That's why they keep bringing back the lockdowns. They refuse to let go of that power. They love that authority. All right, had to vape a little bit. I have to apologize to New York Times for claims of election fraud and hoarding donor cash. GOP chair Ronald McDaniel finally tweets out. Yeah, we went over that one. All right, let's see what else we got. Um, Sydney in its hardcore lockdown amid rise in COVID cases. Major defund the police. Democrats spent nearly $70,000 on private security. Report Washington State Supreme Court upholds investigation reforms into police killings. Democrat plan to slip immigration changes into $3.5 trillion bill passed without GOP votes. Longtime FBI signature expert says Hunter Biden signed receipt for abandoned laptop. We read that part earlier. All right. Let's see. SoCal, America's first rally into Anaheim canceled. We have a duty to call out speech that doesn't reflect our city and its values. Man shot dead at point blank range in the broad daylight in Democrat hellhole of New York City. New York is bad now. I mean, New York is really, really bad right now. It is crazy. It is crazy right now. All right, let's see. Where are we? SoCal, America First. Went over that, man. CNN demands to know jab status in order to submit questions to ask Biden at week's town hall in Cincinnati. All right, let's see. Zero Hedge. Coffee, tea, or soda? What caffeine drinks do countries prefer? CDC scrambles after rare case of monkeypox turns up in Texas. Wow, monkeypox, huh? Let's see what this monkeypox is about. CDC scrambles after rare case of monkeypox. Turns up in Texas. CDC health officials are now working vigorously to trace contacts of anyone directly exposed to a Dallas resident who recently returned to the U.S. on a trip to Nicaragua. That's monkeypox. Maybe I'll do a separate show of that because I think that's all I'm gonna do for today. I thank y'all for watching. Like, share, and subscribe, and tell your friends to subscribe on Patreon. And check out DEMOCREPUBLIX.com for the latest in news. Until next time, y'all.
Oh, say,